lights suck. And here's why. When most people decorate their homes, they spend weeks picking out the perfect paint and the perfect furniture. Then they walk into Ikea and buy the first lamp that kind of fits the room. At first, this might seem like a great solution, but those lamps end up sitting in a corner gathering dust, leaving you with a beautifully designed space and a lamp that looks like an afterthought. I wanted to change that, so I decided to build my own. There was just one problem. I had absolutely no idea how to design a lamp. So I did what the internet told me, and I spent months searching for inspiration. I read books, I explored nature, I looked at art, and I got nothing. Until one day, while sipping a beer on holiday, inspiration hit. So it was actually the trees either side of the sunset that really got my mind going. And I kept thinking, could I turn that into a lamp somehow? So I sketched out an idea on the back of a napkin and then got back on with the holiday beers. But this idea of 2 sculptural uprights and a sunset stuck with me. And when I got back, I went to my local timber merchant and picked up some offcuts of oak to build this lamp. So I picked oak because it's something that I'm familiar with working with, and also because it's readily available in my local area. So you'll see as the build goes on, I get carried away and start setting stuff on fire and trying gilding on the oak. And I think for this reason as well, it was absolutely the perfect material to experiment with. For those of you who watched my videos before, you might notice that I picked up a new planer. So this was an absolute bargain on eBay, and I actually managed to sell my old 80s DeWalt one for the same price that I paid for this, so win-win. So apart from some approximate dimensions and a rough concept, I didn't really know where I was going to go with this lamp, and that was quite exciting because I wanted it to be something sculptural. One of the main challenges in this build was the LED strip light that I'd chosen to use, which required an LED driver. These normally sit in ceiling spaces and require quite a lot of airflow around them. So I had to route out a large section of the base to meet the airflow requirements recommended by the manufacturer. I started hogging out most of the material using a Forstner bit and then made up a routing template to clean everything up. This would have been so much easier if my CNC was working. I then drew a hole through the base of the lamp, and this would enable the LED strip to pass from the LED driver in the base up into the main sculptural element of the lamp. I then neatened up the hole with a chisel. So I wanted to add some visual interest to the base, and I was really conscious it could just look like a slab of wood with some 2x4s on. So I decided to use this bevel bit in order to give the illusion that the base was floating. I'll let you be the judge if that was effective, but I'm really pleased with how it turned out in the end result. I then drilled out the hole for the dimmer switch, and realised it wouldn't fit properly as the base was too deep. So to maintain the maximum integrity of the wood, I decided to create a recess for the dimmer switch. Next, it was time to work on the 2 uprights for the lamp, and these were the bits that were originally inspired by the trees. I wanted these to feel angular and sculptural rather than just looking like 2 bits of 2x4 standing up. It definitely complicated the build, but visually I think it made a huge difference. So all the components for this light were actually provided by the LED stores, so thank you so much for them for all your support and for your advice throughout this project. Honestly, without the help, this build probably wouldn't have happened, so I really appreciate it. There's a link to their website in the description if you want to look at any of the parts that I've used here. For the LED channel, I used the masking tape and super glue trick to fix a template and then routed out the channel. I cleaned up the end with a chisel. But at this point, the design started to feel a little bit too safe. So I started to experiment with the form more and added these tapers to make it feel spatial and a little bit more architectural. So it was actually really good fun to break out the hand tools and do all of this shaping by hand. But by the time it was done, I just felt like there was something missing, and I was worried my original design would fall a bit flat. So I decided to experiment. Now, I know using fire and woodworking projects on YouTube has become a bit of a cliche, but I really wanted to darken the oak so the black LED strip blended into the wood more naturally. And honestly, it is as fun as it looks, and I'd recommend that anyone tries it. I've also been watching the Matt Eastley series on using unusual finishes, so decided to try and experiment with some copper leaf. I applied a gilding adhesive and then laid down some pure copper leaf across the surface. Again, this is something I've always wanted to try, and it is as satisfying and easy as it looks. Initially, it looked way too clean though, and it looked a bit too polished. So I went back to Matt Eastley's video and I experimented with liver of sulphur to artificially age the copper. And this stuff absolutely stinks of eggs. But chemically, it creates all these incredible colours and textures on the copper. And you can literally see this process happen on screen in real time. And I absolutely love how this turned out. It looks so much better than the plain copper. It was then time to glue the trees to the base. Because of the awkward shape, clamping was a nightmare, so I improvised using some offcuts of wood and super glue to create a flat surface where I could then apply some weights. I added a couple of kilos of weights to each of the trees and left it overnight. Now, this isn't the ideal clamping pressure I would have wanted, but given the awkward angles, it did seem to work really well. I could then move on to assembling a test rig to make sure all of my electrical components worked before I began assembly. For the finish, I used a clear wax. It's easy to apply, it looks great, and it really keeps the feel of the wood. So I could then move on to installing the LED channel, and I did this using some super glue and activator before installing the LED strip. So before I went any further, I decided to make a cover for all of the electronics in the base. And I did this using some Baltic birch ply and my laser cutter. And this enabled me to maintain the airflow as per the manufacturer's instructions, but also to give a degree of protection to prevent any accidental touching of the parts in the base. Now, if you've made it this far and before the big reveal, if you have enjoyed this video, please drop a like and a subscribe and tell me what you think in the comments. It's honestly such a big motivator for me to get out and build stuff before and after work, so let me know what you think. Honestly, I am so pleased with this light. I know it's a bit like Marmite, but I really love how sculptural it is. What started out as a bit of an experiment has actually really inspired me to design stuff. I've gone from struggling to design anything to having a sketchbook full of different ideas, which I'm really excited to explore. So make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more. The lessons for this month are slightly different, and this is actually the second time I've made this video. I really love the lamp that I came up with, but the first video just didn't land at all. To the 240 people who viewed it the first time, thank you very much, and I'm sorry you're watching this again. But I tried to experiment and do something that wasn't about woodworking, it was more about storytelling, and that was just me trying to figure out how YouTube works, what kind of content I like to make, and ultimately it didn't go particularly well. I put loads of time into it, and when I look back, it wasn't a great video. So to those of you that commented on it and said you enjoyed it, thank you so much. It did motivate me to come and remake it, but I really wanted to give this project kind of the voice I thought it deserved because I really like the outcome. I'm really proud of it. It's something that I've never kind of attempted to make before, and I just thought it really deserved a second chance. So if this bombs, then who knows? So that was lesson 1. I think lesson 2 is all about life and inspiration. I've seen loads of videos at the moment on YouTube about woodworkers and they just end up reviewing tools, and like, I don't want to end up in that point. I want to make these videos because I enjoy it and it really improves the creative process for me. I started this YouTube channel 6 months ago and set myself an aim of creating a video a month for 6 months whilst I was on paternity leave. And I've hit 4 out of 6 months and, you know, life kind of took over. But what it's kind of made me realise is I want to make videos that I want to make. So if that means that the video isn't out every month, then fine. And I'm happy with that. There's a couple of videos that I've got planned and I intend to try and continue to do this consistently around going back to work, childcare, but it's probably not going to be every month. They're my kind of 2 takeaways. If you have got this far, thanks so much for watching. To the 240 of you who watched the first video and you've made it this far, even better, thank you so much. All the comments that you leave really motivate me to come out here, build stuff, go back to work on Monday after 6 months off, so I'm going to need some motivation. If you have enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. It helps way more than you know. And again, shout out to the LED store for all their support on this.